Hi, this is Denise.
Hey, this is Maggie.
Welcome to our podcast, Candor and Courage at Work.
Denise and I have known each other for a long time, a couple of decades, HR pros, and we thought it might be helpful if we got together and shared some of the things that we've learned along the way.
That's right, Maggie. Many struggle with being candid and being courageous, and we just want to use what we've learned to help you use those traits in your daily work life.
Here's hoping that makes you more successful. And here we go.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, Denise.
Hi, Maggie. So, fresh off of last month's episode on Passive Aggressive 201, a lot of good listener feedback.
Yeah, it's been amazing how impactful both 201 and 101, providing the context and then providing some practical ways to not only respond to you, but even prevent passive-aggressive behavior.
Mm-hmm. So have you noticed passive-aggressive behavior since those two episodes?
In myself, yes.
Well, truthfully, I'm like, wow, you're being passive-aggressive today. So it does help you hone in on that type of behavior in yourself and in others.
Yeah. And I think that's the kind of feedback that we've gotten, both directly and through SpeakPipe. That's the link at candorandcourageatwork.com that our listeners can use to leave us a message. And so in light of the kind of feedback that we've gotten, today we're focusing on one of our listeners' stories.
A very impactful story.
I think so. It really demonstrates an immense amount of courage that it required to be candid.
Yes.
And was positively impactful in the workplace. So I'll do the setup. I did speak with a listener, and this is a story that took place maybe a decade ago. And so it's not something that's going to haunt the listener in their current environment. In fact, they don't work there anymore. But, to put it into context, the overarching theme of a program that was being put in place was based on, I think, what was something with a good intention. Mm-hmm. And so this was in a big box store. Like if we said the name, you would recognize it. They are,
no matter where you live. It's not a Chattanooga business.
No, this is national. In fact, it's international. So big box store. Our listener was responsible for running a department, and that department was the most successful in the continental United States amongst stores. So a very successful department manager who found themselves in a situation where this well-intentioned program was being put in place. And you and I have been in HR long enough to remember when employers really began looking at how do we introduce wellness initiatives. Mm-hmm. And at that juncture, the focus was really on the physical. Today, it's more around mental health and well-being. Not exclusively, but, a decade ago, it was really more around the physical well-being. And so while the intent was good, the program itself was ill-conceived because here's what it entailed. I'll just bottom line it and call it weight shaming. And what the program entailed was a weekly weigh-in of each employee in the break room with a chart on the wall.
Oh my gosh.
With the employee's name and their weekly weight.
That is nuts. And I would think that today, with some emphasis on the term weight shaming, is one of the more recent terms that I've heard, probably wouldn't, that big box would not not do that today.
I would hope not.
Well, I hope they learned their lesson after this listener's story.
Yeah. And so, again, it was well-intentioned. The thought process was, I'm sure, hey, we'll use peer pressure and competition to encourage our team members to become more healthy. And part of that health is going to be focused on having the proper body weight, proper BMI, and all that. The underlying drivers of that, aside from what would be undoubtedly applauded as, hey, we're all in this together, et cetera, probably was around the attempts to impact health insurance claims.
Sure. And productivity.
Yeah.
And maybe lower workers' compensation claims.
Yeah. There could be any number of, measurable positive impacts for the business beyond what was perceived to be, a socializing experience for folks. So the premise then that was associated with that was not only is this a program that we're undertaking and putting in place, it is mandatory.
Okay.
Which has a different connotation.
Sure.
And each employee was required to sign an agreement that they were going to participate. I know we're laughing.
I'm incredulous because, again, if we could share, we would, but we won't.
Yeah.
The name of this retailer, this big box retailer,
right.
It is amazing to me that they don't come with a group of attorneys that said this is a horrible idea, that they don't come with a highly skilled HR professional that said, even if it's legal, it is a highly questionable idea from just employee morale.
Yes.
It blew my mind when you told me the high level information about the story.
Yeah.
So I'm laughing, and unfortunately for the audience, you won't get you don't have the knowledge I have
right.
of who it is to have that jaw dropping moment of really. And just 10 years ago, which the blink of an eye, 10 years ago was like yesterday.
Exactly.
Anyway, carry on.
So at any rate, as this all came together and our listener recognized that this was not something that they were willing to participate in, but it's not necessarily for the reasons that you think. It is that public weight shaming, certainly. But for this individual, they were really being candid with themselves in recognizing that if they participated in this program, because their competitive level was so strong, that they would be competing in a way that was detrimental to their own health and well-being. They fully anticipated that if they committed to this, that it could very well lead to the development of anorexia or bulimia, some kind of significantly detrimental impact, because it would not become about, well, let me count calories and exercise and lose weight. It would become about, let me just do that to an extreme. It's part of the reason that the listener was running a department that was the most successful in the United States across the portfolio of the retailer's locations.
So this is nuts to me, okay? Because again, we're going to assume that the retailer had the best of intentions in mind.
Of course.
There would be some, benefit to them, but that wasn't the primary reason for this.
Right.
We're assuming that. And so, again, not well thought out, because I would not make the connection that somebody who may need to lose some weight to be healthy, would take it to an extreme where they would go the opposite side of weight loss. And I'm sitting here, my mind is blown at the level of negative consequences to this individual and possibly others.
Right.
That the retailer just did not fathom that could be a result of something.
An unintended consequence. Yeah. So with all that, and regular and continuous pressure from both the manager, the store manager, and the on-site HR person. Like
HR was on site.
HR was on site.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And so both of them were regularly coming to the listener as they were approaching their official launch date and saying, look, you've got to sign this.
So my employer, who helps me provide shelter, food, and other creature comforts for myself and possibly family. I didn't speak to the listener, so I'm not sure of that person's situation. But my basic, Maslow's hierarchy of needs are possibly at threat if I don't sign something that I don't want to participate in.
Right. For my own well-being.
So I have the pressure, and maybe, some people have the freedom to be able to say, okay, I don't need this job. That's too much. But maybe this person didn't have that luxury, and nor maybe had invested a lot of time and attention in this role to be that successful in that organization, and to walk away from it over a weight loss initiative.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Well,
10 years ago.
All that, right.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is,
Yeah, it's,
mind-blowing.
It is just one of those things that was so compelling. That's why we're talking about it today, because the courage that emerged out of recognizing all of that, the potential negative impact to the individual, certainly beyond the individual and their well-being, their earnings, their livelihood was
pride in their own role in the company. A legacy that I might have been building here. Wow.
Yeah. And
I just can't imagine that pressure.
It was intense, and served as the catalyst to help the listener overcome the fear and go to regional HR.
Okay.
And regional HR was not on site, not involved in the day in, day out livelihood of this individual and the culture that exists, in every environment, there's a culture. And went to the regional HR manager and said, here's what's going on. I'm not going to sign this for my own well-being. And the regional HR manager said, oh, yeah, no problem. We're going to kill this program.
Okay. So again, having the benefit of knowing the retailer, that regional HR person had that type of power to do that, because it wasn't just, I know you can't really disclose a lot here.
Yeah.
But that's how courageous is it for the regional HR manager to take a stand on the employee? Because again, this is a corporate.
That's right. Everybody's livelihood.
And,
my reputation.
So could the regional HR person's job been on the line to say, I'm going to speak up for this employee against, the corporate wide or,
right.
nationwide, maybe.
Right.
Initiative that people put a lot of time and energy into developing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to think. And so to your point, I don't know that the regional manager had sufficient positional power to create the change that was promised to our listener at that meeting. But I believe that the regional HR manager had the wherewithal to recognize that this individual who had the courage to come in and speak up was probably one voice of many, and put it into a context for that regional HR manager, how detrimental it could be to the individual. And I don't think that had been accounted for. So I think, to give credit to the regional HR manager in recognizing the risks and including the potential impact on employee morale, or loss of employees who maybe would make a choice to go work somewhere where they weren't going to be compelled to participate in such a program, that sort of thing. So while our listener subsequently experienced not unlawful harassment, but certainly retaliation, and perhaps it didn't rise to the level of unlawful retaliation, the manager and the on-site HR both engaged in increased scrutiny, ostracization, those kinds of things that happen and often are what prevent individuals from being courageous enough to step up. It's like your fears are realized because you stepped up and because you were candid and spoke up. Then these things happened. Unexpectedly, however, the coworkers hailed this individual,
the listener,
okay, yeah, as somewhat of a hero. Like, I signed that under duress. I didn't really want to do it either. And it wasn't because the listener disclosed that they had gone. I think it was evidenced to the coworkers by the behavior of the store manager and the HR with the listener post the killing of the program. They figured it out.
So my mind again is kind of just in awe here. So the listener goes to the regional HR person. The regional HR person said, "We're not doing this anymore."
That's correct.
And then clearly had to go back to the listener's manager and the on-site HR person and say, listener is not going to participate in this. And as a matter of fact, we're calling into question the program.
That's correct.
So at that point in time, the manager, I'm sorry, I'm laughing again because I'm incredulous. It's
Right.
not funny.
Right.
So the manager says, rather than, "Oh my gosh, this was absolutely not a good call,"
Yeah.
says, "I have a problem with you, listener, for going over our heads." And, I don't advocate employees always going over the head of people, but clearly when you've worked with your manager and that manager is not willing to assist you and you feel so strongly, then it is absolutely appropriate to go beyond that leader. But so that leader and the on-site HR person,
Yes,
turned around and said to the listener, "How dare you?"
essentially, yes, through their actions and behaviors, which then made it clear to everyone else who had stepped up and spoken up.
Okay. And so again, I'm trying to think of myself as a leader of people and how I would react to this. Well, how I would react to corporate suggesting that we have this wellness program.
Right. First of all, right?
So the manager, in essence, didn't have the courage to do the right thing.
Right.
Or didn't even see it as a problem.
I think that there was a bit of groupthink involved there.
Okay.
And that happens a lot. In corporate environments, somebody gets an idea and everybody goes, "Wow, that's a great idea." And even those that are naysayers are like, "Yeah, maybe I'm just not seeing it the way they are." Or, "I really don't think that's a good idea, but I got to pick my battles. I'm not going to speak up on this instance."
Yeah. So I'm just going to be candid with the audience. I've been to Weight Watchers.
Okay.
Okay. And yes, you have weekly weigh-ins. Okay. But my weight was never posted for all of the Weight Watcher members to see. Now, might I have gotten a "Congratulations, Denise, you lost X pounds or X percentage"? I don't even recall getting that. I mean, I might have gotten it from the Weight Watcher leader, but I'm just in my workplace where I am. That's a weekly Weight Watcher meeting, which is maybe an hour
That you've chosen.
Right. That I've chosen, that I want to engage in. But yet I'm going to work 40 plus hours a week and seeing my name and my actual weight on a wall
in the break room.
And candidly, I'm not looking at my coworker's weight. I am totally focused on there is my number for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was such a compelling story. And we're so grateful to our listeners.
Yeah. Still continued courage to be able to reach out to us and share that story, not only on the SpeakPipe platform, but to talk with you about it after that message. I wish I could say who this person was to give them kudos. But listener, you're listening, I believe.
Yep.
And kudos to you. Kudos to you for this whole story.
Yeah, we hope that it serves as an encouragement to our listeners that you can be courageous and know that you may suffer the consequences, but that you may also really make a positive impact in someone else's life. So it's not just about how that act of courage and being candid impacted you, but how it impacted others.
So do you have how it landed? Clearly we just finished talking about the story didn't end because there was the manager and perhaps the on-site HR person behaving badly and shunning the listener. Did you get a postscript to this? Did the listener stay in that role? Did the manager and HR? Do you have that level of detail to share?
I think my understanding is that all three continued. That this eventually went into the rearview mirror, as most issues do.
Okay.
And then the attention was, let's face forward, let's move forward, let's go forward and achieve what we need to achieve. Not quickly.
Okay.
It went on for a bit, but in environments like that, you always have other issues that come up that begin to minimize and diminish. And I think the freshness of that, there is a cognitive dissonance that comes with someone who exercises that degree of courage that increases their own sensitivity. So when someone has stepped up and they've put the monkey on someone else's back, it simultaneously creates relief and fresh fear.
Yes. Well, and what's in my mind right now is things are never the same.
Right.
That when my manager didn't have courage to stand up for me, when the manager reacted poorly to the employee seeking relief beyond the manager, when that manager made it personal, that I will not forget as the employee how you acted toward me. So I can move on, I can be professional, but I will never forget.
Right.
And wow, what a hit to that person's leadership and possibly brand when
Undoubtedly.
Other people go, oh, hey, what is so-and-so like to work for? Well, have I got a story for you?
Oh, my word. Yes.
So,
yes.
Well, kudos to you, our listener. Thank you so much for sharing your story in SpeakPipe, and giving us all an example of modern day courage.
Yep.
And
in the workplace.
And the ripple effect it has to possibly help others. So,
yep. That was that was the silver lining.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that is our episode today.
All right.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you for joining us today for Candor and Courage at Work.
We hope you found some inspiration and encouragement in today's episode.
For more information or to connect with us, visit our website, candorandcourageatwork.com, and be sure to download future episodes wherever you listen.